Hey guys, this is the video for transformations. The first thing I'm going to do is kind of explain a little bit about what a transformation is, and then I'm going to do some of the problems on your worksheet. After I do the problems as examples, then I want you to complete the odds on your paper and take a picture of that and upload it to me. Okay, as we talked before, y equals x squared is the quadratic parent function. Now, a transformation is when you take that parent function and you change it up a little bit, but it still resembles, for the most part, the original equation. And this particular one looks something like that. Okay, so if I were to give you this equation, it's still quadratic, but what it would do is it would take that graph and it would flip it upside down. And what we would say was it reflects over the x-axis. So a negative put in front of the function literally takes the graph. If we had this graph going up like this, it flips it upside down. Okay, now if I were to give you y equals 2x squared, and I put a number greater than 1 here in front of this, this is what's called a vertical stretch. And what this does is it makes the graph get more narrow, or we could say, oops, we could say narrower. So we'd have a graph that gets a little skinnier. The bigger the number, the more narrow it would get, because if you take a rubber band and you stretch it, it causes it to get more narrow. Okay, that's the first two. Now if I give you y equals 1/2 x squared, this is the opposite of a stretch. This is a vertical compression. Okay, if you press down on something, instead of it getting more narrow, it's going to get wider. So if you have a number between 0 and 1, you're going to have a vertical compression. Now all of these are still quadratic, and we know that because x is raised to the second power. Okay, then the next one we have, now this is still my quadratic function, but what this does is it shifts that graph up 5 units. So here's my graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and I should have drawn this one. I'm going to make that graph a little wider so you can see. Okay, if this shifts it up 5 units, then if I gave you y equals x squared minus 8, this would shift it down 8 units. Okay, the graph would still be opening upwards, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It would just be shifted down 8 units. Okay. All right, now we have, oops, I want to do that in blue. Now we have y equals x plus 3 in parentheses squared. Now this is still quadratic, but that number inside the parentheses, instead of it shifting it up or down, it moves it left and right. Now, if I looked at that before I knew much about quadratics, I would think, okay, that's going to shift it 3 units to the right. But it shifts it the opposite of what you would think. Okay, and I always tell everybody your x is a liar. So if it says plus 3, it's going to go left 3 units. So here's your graph. Okay, and then if I have y equals x minus 4 squared, still quadratic, but instead of going left 3 units, it's going to go right 3 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Something similar to that. Okay, that's your basic transformations. And those same transformations apply to any type of function for the most part. So we're going to get out our worksheet. Let me erase this. I'm going to get out this worksheet called Transformations. Now, it says, first, name each one of their parent functions, or name each one by their parent function, then describe in words the transformations. 1 through 5, those are all the same type of function. I've kind of separated this. Anyway, I'm going to do 1 through 5 is the same type of function. 6 through 9 is the same type of function. 10 through 14 is the same type. 15 through 18 is the same type. And then here on the back, 19 through 22 is the same type. And I'm not going to make you do these two, so you can skip these. Okay, I'm going to do a few of these with you. And then, like I said before, I want you to do the odds and upload a picture of that to me. But let's start with number 1. Okay, number 1, we have y equals negative 2x minus 3. Now, the basic parent function here, because x is raised to the first power, and we understand that if there's not an exponent written there, so this basic function is linear. Okay, so there's 3 transformations taking place. This negative causes it to reflect over x. And I'm going to go ahead and write axis, but if you just put reflects over x, I'm okay with that. Okay, the 2, not including the negative, but just the 2 itself, is going to cause it to, it's a vertical stretch. And if we were talking about it in terms of a straight line, it would be steeper. Okay, and then the -3 at the end, or the -3 at the end, that would shift it down 3 units. Okay, so that's what would be required for number 1. Okay, I'm going to do number 6. Okay, the parent function here, we look at this part right here. That's 1 divided by x, so that is a rational function. And there's only one transformation that takes place here. It's going to move up 4 units. Okay, next I'm going to do number 10. Okay, parent function represented here, because this is being raised to the 2nd power, and that's the biggest exponent, then the parent function here would be quadratic. Now there's several transformations taking place here, or actually 3. First of all, the negative, that causes it to reflect. Okay, then we have a 2 here inside the parentheses. Now that's our left and right shift, and it does opposite of what you would think. So if it says +2, it's going to go left 2 units. Okay, and then outside the parentheses, we have this +1. So that is going to cause the graph to shift up 1 unit. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more. Okay, this is number 15. Now, when you have this written out like this, if you want to, you can go ahead and put parentheses around this, because whatever's underneath that square root sign is the same as if it was parentheses. So this one is the square root function. Okay, this is, like I said, same as parentheses, does opposite of what you would think. So right 2 units. And this is outside the parentheses, so that would be down 1 unit. Okay, and then one last one. This is number 19. Oops. Okay. Now this one says y equals -0.5 times the absolute value of x minus 2. Okay. So I just said what this one was, absolute value. Okay, so we're going to take it one part at a time. The negative, we cause it to reflect over the x-axis. Okay, 0.5. 0.5 is the same as 1/2. So that would be a vertical compression. So it get wider. Okay, and then we have one more thing. Now these absolute value signs are the same as parentheses, so this is going to go right 2 units. Okay, so that's your lesson over transformations. Like I said, do the odds. I've done some of the odds for you, so just rewrite what I did and then do the remaining odds. Write your name at the top of the paper, upload me a picture, and that will be your grade for this worksheet. Also, the review looks like this. On this one, I'll do the first one for you. You can find all of this in our last unit, but this one says to write the equation of the parent function and sketch the graph for each of the following. Okay, linear, all you have to do is put y equals x, sketch the graph. Find all of these on the previous worksheet. Also, if you were following along, and you can go back and rewatch the video, this page right here, I went through and did every one of these for you. So go back and watch the video if you need to. Write this down also and upload me a picture. Thanks.